Roth Radio. Make yourself at home. We did. David Lee Roth.
Roth Radio a primera hora. Televisión, Dave. Solamente, yeah.
Alex Van Halen pulls up in a 1956 Chevy Bel Air coupe, right? And it's set up for drag racing, which is the quarter mile, except no quarter mile is in between red lights. And I asked Alex, what is the car designed to do? Because it's got the giant slicks in the back, okay? And it's got the little tires in the front and the mill and the blower, you know, the air intake in the front. And it looks like it's on steroids. It looks like, you know, the shoulders are overdeveloped and the arms are too big for the legs and everything. He said, Dave, this is from the 60s. It's designed purely to race from red light to red light. I don't know that anybody does that in that high school age group anymore, which is kind of what that car was designed for. I don't know who actually built it. That's an objet d'art at this point. It's a museum quality, you know, it's like sculpture or something. But in fact, it blew itself up. I said to Al, when do we get to take another ride? He said, nah, it burned itself up, blew up. Like you expect it. It's the kind of car where you put fire extinguishers in it actually expecting to use them as opposed to, oh, it's just a side prop. You know, it's something that goes along with. No, you expect to use it. People put spotlights in, like in cop cars. You never expect to use those. And I guess you expect to use the fire extinguisher in Alex's car because it's not on the road anymore. It's always in the shop, right? Anyways, that was the one kind of car besides lowrider. There were three groupings. You had that kind of car, the muscle car or the funny car. And funny cars are called funny cars because you're actually taking standard issue stuff that's kind of off the rack and really going to Gold's Gym on it. Let's really blow this up Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno style. So it's just distorted to the point of almost too much. In fact, let's do it too much. And do you know how sometimes when you see state workers and it's no longer able for the state to demand that you cut your hair, as long as your haircut is up and off of your ears, then as a state worker, for example, an EMT, I had a working partner, Keisha, and Keisha's haircut was as tall from the top of her head to the top of her haircut as she was from the base of her neck to the top of her tush. The state is she had dreadlocks. So she would make them into a huge braid that was as big as my bicep, okay? And then roll that braid into a big roll and then perch her baseball hat on top of it. Got that in your mind's eye? That's what a funny car looks like. You take the frame of the car, you overdo the engine, the drivetrain, everything that is power, a mill, a Chrysler mill usually, and you overdo everything, and then you precariously, like that baseball hat, just carefully perch the body of the car up on top. Like a cherry on top of a banana split, but one that's going to fall off maybe. You know, you go to the race, you want to see the winner, but if there's a crash, you don't want to miss that either. It looks like the top of the car it's funny. You're kind of making fun of it. You're deconstructing the idea of, okay, a Lamborghini, I can't spell that. A Ferrari, who can afford it? But a Chevy funny car, I can spell funny, and you would work on that engine and rebuild everything and then perch the body up on top. And they would invariably explode or whatever. If you've been to the drag race, have you ever been to the drag races? Okay, then you know it's a celebration of noise and smoke. Number 1 and number 2. Number 3, depending on where you're sitting, the race is over. If you even turn your face and go, wow, it's done. I'm going to go buy it's done. The race is done at that point. So you're celebrating. My God, it sounds amazing when you hear one of those hemispherical engines torch off, right? It's just thunderous. It sounds biblical. Have you ever been to a tractor pull? Okay, tractor pulls, and this is news to the non-rural. I'm going to be perfectly frank, you look rural. I'm a card-carrying member of the Great Unwashed. Where's your bib overalls? Just point. We wear them under everything, like a superhero outfit. Pulling contest, and the name of the magazine, I subscribe to it as Puller Magazine. Okay, probably the best name or the worst name of any magazine ever made, depending on what seat you leave that on. Puller Magazine is dedicated to tractor pull contests. Now, I remember seeing these at the Indiana State Fair in Indianapolis. They have it every summer as a tiny little kid. And back then, they would have tractors pull this long, flat metal piece. It's like a sled. It would be about, 30 feet long and maybe 10 feet as high as a basketball hoop wide. And it was more like some sort of a game that people would play at the state fair, sort of like burlap bag races or horseshoe or whatever. People would stand on the side of the track, and then more and more people would jump on the sled until finally you would weigh the tractor down and it'd start rooster-tailing out the back tires, and everybody would cheer and scream, and people would almost get run over, and little kids would squeal. But the thing's going by, at 2 miles an hour, and you jump on, and everybody's yelling, and you could never really determine who won or lost. But, it's like going to watch Mike Tyson box. Who cares? Right, exactly. It's like going to watch George Foreman box. Who cares? It's a tractor pull. This has since been seriously developed since then. Now you have hydraulic sleds that gain weight as they go, and thousands of pounds, okay? And they're putting multiple engines on the tractors. It's not just one big engine like a drag racer. I've got a picture of one that has 4 of those engines on it. Can you imagine 4 of those torching off at the exact... You could build a religion around just that sound, couldn't you? Okay, there you go. Now, lower it to the ground, take a pack of cool cigarettes, slide it between the bumper and the bitumen. Fire it up. Yeah, let's see what happens to that cellophane now.
Took me over, think I'll go and stay.
Roth. So much power, you can feel the power. Pure power. Radio Roth.
Third building block in the automotive history of myself is the Volkswagen. You've got the 57 Chevy Bel Air Coupe that qualifies as hot rod or funny car, high school, whatever, still with us more than ever before, perhaps because now we have the media that supports that, right? That whole, I call it a voter block, but it's a neighborhood. It's more than any one color of people. It's more than one age group. It's more than any one economic group of folks who own cars like that. If you head over to Silver Lake, you'll find plenty of people in their 30s wearing the appropriate outfit that goes with the 57 Chevy Bel Air Coupe, right? You got to have the baggy dungarees. They're called dungarees, not jeans. You got to have the cuff at the bottom, a trucker's wallet with the chain. You know the look. Even the tattoos, American traditional, will go Sailor Jerry and that kind of a thing goes along with. It's a whole cultural event in and of itself, and you can find many car events that cater specifically to that part of the store that sells just that kind of a car. Lowriders, same thing. Whether or not it's La Bomba, the bomb, okay, mine is a bomb. That's a 51 Mercury. You find all the Oldsmobiles and the Buicks and just 48s and so forth like this, or super modern, which is going to be probably either an Impala, all right, and those are from all the 60s, 70s, etc. And they have super modern, high-gloss, high-tech digital paint jobs. 24 coats of hand-rubbed lacquer, but this time they're using acrylic lacquers that are brand new, mind-roasting stuff, eye-bursting stuff, bra-busting stuff. Well, if you drive by slow enough and she sees you, she'll bust her bra. That's the hopes. That's the hope. That's the dream. Some people get their kick stomping on a dream. Knock it off, Jeremy. The third building block in this is the V-dub bug and all the variations of it. Volkswagen has been in the news because of all, their engine issues and whatnot. But growing up, the V-dub bug was the working man's car. By the time we get to Woodstock, okay, you want to know how old that is? It's not. I just watched a 22-year-old guitar player sit down and get the Woodstock logo, the neck of the guitar with the dove sitting on it, that the character that symbolizes, he got that tattooed right smack in the middle of his forearm, his guitar player. And his dad sat there and paid for it. So it's still pretty with us there. And that's the Volkswagen. That's also the fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Here's $10. Go cop some pot and don't get burned. That was the beginning of every episode. Of course, Fat Freddy and his cat, who they give the $10 to go buy some pot, always gets burned. And that's the storyline. It's like the honeymooners. To the moon, Alice! He's got another get-rich-quick scheme, as long as Alice doesn't find out. Both of them would have driven in a Volkswagen. Although, let's think now. Jackie Gleason, who played, I forget the name. Yeah, Ralph was a bus driver, and he made $60 a week, and they lived in Bensonhurst, I think was the character, okay? I don't know that he would have driven a Volkswagen. He probably would have thought that it had connotations, that it had, it's German, whatever. We didn't have that. The Woodstock Nation, I was a proud moccasin-wearing hippie clown, okay? Come on, with the part in the middle of the hair and the hands permanently in the front pockets. Later on, we became known as Jeff Spicoli from Ridgemont High. But, leading up to that, I remember having to sneak through the rain out of the house, not telling my parents what movie I was going to because they didn't want me to go see the combination of Easy Rider and Woodstock that were playing at the Uptown Theater that night. I had to sneak out and go see that. I sat through both twice, changed my life forever. Careful what you let your kids sneak out and go see. That being said, the Volkswagen itself has, I know, 3 magazines that I picked up on the road here. When I travel going on the road with Van Halen, there are a lot of areas that cater to certain pursuits. You're not going to find a whole lot of off-road catering magazines at the newsstand on Hollywood Boulevard in Las Palmas. You're not. You're not going to find a whole lot of kayaking and general outdooring something in the inner city magazine stand in Manhattan. You'll find all the cool stuff that goes with the art school and the design schools and so forth. You will not find Design International that caters to how that kayak was designed digitally and what kind of machines and mechanism technically they use. That you will find right near FIT in Manhattan. You will find nothing about off-road. And if you're a fan of camouflage clothes, I am. I've never been hunting, but I like camouflage. So everywhere we go, we stop at the stores and I buy camouflage clothes. My favorite joke is to stand against the wall wearing camouflage clothes and then say, "How'd you find me?" I'm taking this shit back. This shit doesn't work. How'd you find me? This shit's shit. This is some shit. The Volkswagen has 3 magazines that I know of. One of them is just for street use, okay? You'll see these going to the Whole Paycheck and the Vons and the Ralphs and going to Orchard Supply and Target and so forth. And they've stayed in the family usually, and they then got found in a garage and then updated, or that's when we got married and Bob inherited his dad's old Bug and it sat in the garage for so many years, and then the kids graduated high school and we had a few extra dollars and we decided to get it tuned up and pet, and now they drive it regularly, and it's kind of like a pet for the family, like the family dog or something. Second is, I think it's Class 11, which is the last class in the Baja whatever race, okay? It's that huge long desert race that takes days and days and people get lost and then the helicopter gets lost. And Class 11 is stock Volkswagen. I don't think you can add or subtract anything. You just wrench it the way it is, and it takes weeks and weeks to do what is usually a 4-day trip. And that's the t-shirt that you want. That's the equivalent of the Jamaican bobsled team t-shirt. That's the shirt you want. Who won the bobsled competition? I think it was 1985 when the Jamaican bobsled team competed. Do we know? Do you care? Me neither. But I do want the Jamaican bobsled team t-shirt. I want Eddie the Eagle t-shirt as well. He's the one that competed in, the ski jump. They're making a movie with Hugh Jackman coming out pretty soon for the Olympics about Eddie the Eagle. I think he didn't even place last. He was so terrible. That's the shirt you want. Who won the event? I don't know either, nor do I care either. It's, these are national heroes. So, when you even finish the race in Class 11 in a stock Volkswagen, you're a hero. That is an adventurer sport. It's like going across the ocean in a rowboat or some sort of a thing. It's more about the emotional content and the spirit of the adventure. It's like, that's sort of like pointing out at the ocean and saying, I think there's something on the other side. It really has nothing to do with navigational ability. It has really nothing to do with any technical capacity. It's about the size of your nards and your capacity to be patient when they give up on you. And that's what Chapter 11, there is a magazine specific, Chapter 11, excuse me, Class 11, that there is a magazine specifically for that. I bought it. And there is another that specifically caters to customizing the V-Dub Bug Bus. The classic Woodstock V-Dub bus that you see with Flower Children articles and, the pranksters, merry pranksters and so forth. Now it's also become a big part of hip-hop nation. They're being lowered. They are doing pinstriping and all kinds of really interesting, because there's a lot of Spanish speaking involved in it too. If you can find the body of it, then it customizes beautifully. You can find bug parts all over the world. That's important. That's why you deal with things like the Chevy Bel Air Coupe or what. You can find parts like that in Bulgaria. You can step up to the Pep Boys in Serbo-Croatian and ask for a coupling part for a Chevy, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. It might take a while to get it to you, but Same thing for the V-Dub Bug. That's all over the world. And now I think that you got baby boomers who grew up with the idea of what that car was post-war. Somebody my father's generation, okay, would look at that car and go, those are the guys who made the engines for the tanks that... So history changes, you know. It's a full circle here, you know. One of the best Israeli machine guns, the Uzi, arguably one of the best, is made in Stuttgart, Germany now. So hey, full circle. I have visions though of maybe buying a V-Dub bus. Although I gotta say, I don't know if that's super dependable. Again, did you see, what was the movie, Little Miss Sunshine? Okay, well, one of the most important parts of the movie, but arguably one of the best characters in the movie, was the actual motor vehicle itself. We used to have to push the bug. Mike Martinez and Orlando Chavez and me and Kenny Brower, we used to ride around in an old V-Dub Bug, okay? And I remember getting on to the Pasadena Freeway here at the end of Fair Oaks Boulevard, is it? And right where the power plant is, where it turns right, we flipped it going left. You want to know about the day and age? It was a mighty time. We got out, we looked around, nobody was there. We lifted the goddamn thing back onto its wheels and continued our ride out to Gazzari's and partied the night away. I'll do my Volkswagen imitation.
My daddy was the family baseman. My mama was an engineer. And I was born one dark gray morn with music running in my ears, in my ears. Well, they call me baby driver. Once upon a pair of wheels. Hit the road and I'm gone. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel. Scoot down the road. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel. Shine a light. My daddy was a prominent frogman. My mom was in the Naval Reserve. When I was young, I carried a gun, but I never got the chance to serve. I did not serve. Well, they call me baby driver. Once upon a pair of wheels. Hit the road and I'm gone. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel. Scoot down the road. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel. Shine a light. Scoot down the road, what's my number? I wonder how your engines feel. My daddy got a big promotion. My mama got a raise in pay. There's no one home, we're all alone. So come into my room and play. Yes, we can play. I'm not talking about your pigtails. I was just talking about your sex appeal. Hit the road and I'm gone. What's my number? I wonder how your engines feel.